Hey guys, Makuto here, everyone's favorite Waste player. So today what I'm going to do, a little bit different than I usually do, my standard deck profile where I just kind of show you what's on the deck. I'm actually going to do a whole profile where I kind of explain how the deck works and the key ingredients to making it work well. So what I'm going to go over today is I call it my budget Kantai deck. It's made completely from set 1 Kantai. This is the English one. I did originally make this deck in Japanese when we got the cards, last year, 2 years ago. I forget how long it's been. But then I remade the deck in English, and I actually got the whole deck completed. I bought it off Ideal for $10. So completely budget Kantai. When I used to play the Japanese version against a lot of the people that played Kantai back then, I find it's a really strong anti-Kantai deck. It does well against regular Kantai decks. Unfortunately, it doesn't do too well against anything else. So it is a fun deck to play. A lot of draw, some slight power creep, not too much. Mostly you just draw cards. You have a whole handful. Keep your stock clean, and then just kind of go for it at the end. Okay, so what I'm going to go ahead and just talk about my grade zeros. So I'm running 4 of the Akatsuki's, running 3 of the Shigudes, running 3 of the Marasume, running 2 of these Adashios, and running 4 of Adade. So the main goal in grade 0 is to just draw as many cards as possible, and keep your stock clear, pretty much. So you want to make sure you get Adade on the field. She is a tap 2, pay 2 draw. So pretty much as long as you do at least 3 attacks per turn, or 2 attacks per turn, you can get her off. I just go ahead and use her every turn, just because you don't really need stock in this deck until level 2, and then you don't need that much. So what you want to do is burn your stock, keep it clear, but also draw cards. So even though the pay is pretty high, but at the end of the day, you're just getting an extra card in your hand, and you're getting rid of the stock, which you don't want. Another great card is Marasume. You can tap a character to give her 1,000, and then her ability is when she reverses her opponent, you can take a damage to draw a card. So I use her with the Akatsuki, climax combo, where when she attacks, give all your characters plus 2k. So if you have her on the field and you boost her, then she can kill pretty much anything, especially if you've got like an extra character to tap to give her an extra boost. Say like if you couldn't use her ability right away, then you would boost her with that, give her more power, so you can fight some of your opponent's characters. And especially at level 0, you don't really have to worry too much about backups or anything like that, so you're pretty safe as it comes to getting her power up there and then swinging at stuff. The other main card is the Shigude. When she's by herself, she gets plus 15, and she has card from hand encore, or character from hand encore. However, her second ability, which is really good, that is, as long as you're grade 1 or higher, you can put her into clock to pull out this card, the Shigude Kaini. This is a great card. When she's placed on the field, you look at your opponent's top card. If it's grade 1 or higher, she gets plus 1,000 to the end of their turn. So I'll go over more of this stuff later, but it's a pretty good card because if you play her first, then she's pretty high, so she can stay on the field. But if not, and then you can save her at the end of your turn if she does die during your opponent's turn. But then at the same time, when you get to grade 1, you can use her to get a really nice 1-cost field character off for free, pretty much, and that gets an extra boost. So great card. And then I am running the Arashino. She's good. When she's placed on stage, you can look at the top card, and then you can put it at the top or the bottom of your deck. This is pretty good if you want to put climaxes at the bottom, so you know that you're going to stop damage then. You can also use it to see what card you're going to draw, because she also has a pay 1, draw, discard. So that's good. You can't, I mean, you don't get to keep cards in your hand with her, but at least you can cycle through cards. If you have some extra stock you need to just burn through, she's a great card to burn through that. But so the main thing you want to do is use Arare to burn stock and draw cards. Use Shigude to just get powerful cards on the field, and then also Akatsuki and the Murasume combo to just draw cards and get to level 1 as fast as possible. It's great that she is a damage 1 to draw 1, especially if your opponent is being sneaky and trying to keep you at 0 for as long as possible. If you have her on the field, then at least you can get that extra damage, especially if you're clocking as well. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and show you my grade 1s. So for the Shigude Kaini combo, I'm only running 2. It's a great card, but I find you don't really need too many of that one, especially since it has cost, and you don't really want to be paying for a lot of stuff early on in this game. Then I'm running 4 of the Nakas. I am running 3 of the Hagudo. Running 3 of the Nachi. I accidentally, when I ordered these online, I accidentally only got 2 of them. So I'm using the Japanese one that I had extra, and so I can get another English version. But then I'm also running 4 of the Furutakas. This is a great backup. I really like it. If she had the with the clock ability, that would be awesome. But just her ability, what she has right now is fine too. So she's a 1k backup, but if you show your opponent's hand, or you show your opponent your hand, and as long as you have 1 climax in there, then she gets an extra 1,000. So she's basically, if you have a climax in hand, she's basically a 2k boost for free, which is a 1-cost backup usually. So really good backup. So usually, for the most part, 2k, especially if you're holding on to a backup or a climax for the grade 2 combo, then you pretty much always have one. So it's a really good card. I looked at a lot of the newer backups to try to find something that was better than this, and really, for the cost and the power you get, she's pretty much the best backup, especially if you're trying to keep the deck low cost. You know, obviously there's other backups that do a little bit more damage or do extra stuff, but because I can get 2k out of her and it's basically free, then that makes her 10 times better. So then I'll talk about Nachi here. Nachi on play, you pay 1, discard a card, look at the top 4 from your deck, and then you can put a Ship Girl into your hand. So pretty good. I like that she helps you mill cards. Since I'm not running Brainstorms, I do have a lot of burning cards, but at least with her I can choose a card too. So I'm not actually getting a card in my hand because you have to discard a card, but you can discard something you don't want to possibly get something you can use. She also has a secondary ability as an assist, 1,000 up front on your opponent's turn. So that's why I'm only running 3 of them. You can't really play 2. I mean, technically you can, but if you play 2, then you get no backup or no assist on your turn. So at least with this, you can put her on one side, and then you can put the grade 0 on the other side, and you can still do your grade 0 effects, and you can give +5 to someone on your turn, and then the person in the middle is getting 15 on your opponent's turn, which is pretty nice. So I'm pretty much mostly only running her for her ability. So if I have one on the field and I'm going to play another one, I'll just play it on top. I won't put another one on the field unless I had an empty spot. Then I can use her to attack. But since she does use stock, and she does discard a card, she's only really good to mill cards. But that extra boost during your opponent's turn does help. So running that, then running 3 of the Makutos. I really like this card. I run a card like it in my Vivid Dread Operations deck. So when I saw that they had this card, I was kind of happy about it. It's not a power that they use a lot, but I do like it. It's if this is on the field, when one of your characters is getting a flying attacked, you can actually put this into the waiting room to give it a +15k boost. So it's pretty good because it actually triggers before your backup step, so you can trigger her and backup. So you can possibly get a 3-5k backup at level 1, which is pretty good. Usually that's an event. That's what events are for. I don't really event backups are pretty that high. And since I'm not running any event backups right now, you can just kind of use that to get the extra boost. And if it's out there, a lot of people just attack it because they don't want you to use that ability. So they'll just throw stuff at it, and it'll be pretty safe. Because really, you're only using it for a spec ability anyway. I mean, it's 0 cost. It's 0 cost to use the ability, 0 cost to play, but it's only 5k, which is at grade 1. It's not great. There's a lot of things that can just kill it. So other than like other assist characters, but you can use her to get some boost. And even if she's side attacked or reversed, you can still use it because as long as it's on the field. So makes it a really good card. Now this is the main card of the grade 1s, I think, which is Naka. On play, you can mill the top card. If it is not a ship girl, I'd say, then you would ship girl, right? Okay, no, if it's the climax. So if you do get a climax, then it goes into stock. I was gonna say the opposite. If it's not a ship girl, then it goes to stock. But pretty much, if it's a climax, it goes straight to stock. So I mean, it's pretty good. I mean, there's only 8 climaxes in the deck, so the possibility that you'll get a climax is pretty low. But if you do get a climax, then at least you get an extra stock to maybe play something else. I've actually played her sometimes, got a stock, and was able to use my grade 2 abilities I couldn't use. So she is pretty handy. Also, she is a character from Hand Encore card at 5/5 for free, so it's pretty good. It's a good trade-off. Usually if it's a character from Hand On card, you lose some power, but since she has that other ability that can kind of kill her, then her power kind of stays even. So I like this card because it'll keep a card on the field, and then you can get rid of any grade 0s that you might have left over in your hand that you just can't use anymore. But I wouldn't get rid of anything important for it just because it's only a 5/5. I would back it up if I could, just to kill things. But if there was nothing I can do, then I wouldn't use it back up to save it. But it is pretty nice. It's a pretty good card. I really enjoy using it. And then of course the Shigudena Kaini that I talked about earlier. She's good because she gets pretty high. She becomes a 7/5 on your turn and your opponent's turn if the ability goes off, and then if you have the backups, then she's like an 8/5 or a 9 at level 1. So I mean, just for a turn, but just that one turn is pretty good sometimes because a lot of people play really strong cards, and if you can get a character out that's really strong, then you can just kind of kill it and kind of kill their whole momentum, which I feel is the point of a lot of what goes on in Weib Shwartz, is you have to kill their momentum. Because if they get going, then all they do is they just keep cards on the field, keep cards in their hand. They don't have to clock as much, which stops them from taking unnecessary damage, stuff like that. And I feel like a lot of people wanted to talk about Revice as super luck based, but at the same time, I feel like if your deck is solid enough, then it becomes more skill than luck. And that's very important. So next I'm going to talk about my grade 2s. I'm running 2 of the Hyugas and 3 of the Issei's. The first class battleships and second class battleship. I like these cards. I actually ran different cards originally. If you look back at my my blog, you'll see this deck pretty much, but a lot of the grade 2s and grade 3s are different. I did change this lineup a lot. I used to have a backup here. I used to have a grade 2 that would boost here. Mostly I made the changes just because I wanted different. I wanted both the grade 3s and I wanted both of these cards. Because before I was playing just her, just Issei. They're both pretty good. When they're both, really they have the same ability. When they're both on the field, they give each other 1,000. So if Issei's on the field, she gives Hyuga 1,000, and if Hyuga's on the field, she gives Issei 1,000. However, it's worded in a way that you don't get 1,000 for each one of the other one. It just says all of your other characters that Issei class get 1,000. I don't know. So maybe that does mean if you had 2 of these, then she would get plus 2k. I don't know. Anyways. But her main ability is her climax combo. I'll show you the climax. I'm running 4 of the Ikari combo, plus 2 soul. And then I'm running 4 of this one, the activation battleship, which is when this is placed on field. This has the skill is 1 green climax from your waiting room to soul or to stock. So great climax, and you get plus 1 soul. And then her ability, both these abilities are climax combo with this. During the climax phase, you pay 1, put this card into clock, and then you can get the grade 3 target out of the deck, and then play it on the field. So you do. I mean, they cost 1, but you do end up damaging yourself. So you really want to get these off at grade 2. Once you're grade 3, you don't want to do these skills anymore. You just want to play the grade 3s. But if you have, 1 or 2 of these in your hand, and you have the ability to play them, just go ahead and play them. Especially because she gives you a stock. So you can play 1, play this. So even if you only have 1 stock left, you can still get the ability off because you'll be getting it from this. And what's great about them is they only cost 1 to play. So you'll essentially be paying 2 because you pay 1 to play them and then pay another 1 to activate the ability. But that's pretty much why you want to use your grade 0 draw, just so you can draw a lot of cards, and you don't actually need a lot of stock for this deck. Shigure Kaini needs a stock, but you can get her for free with the grade 0. Now there's the backup requires 1 stock, but it's only 1 stock. If you're attacking at least 2 or 3 times per turn, then you should be building up a little bit. Especially if you can only do that. There's a grade 0's effect 1 time per turn because you have to tap 2 characters. So you're not really going through that much stock. You might be down to 1 or 2 each turn, but if you know you're going to be in grade 3 or grade 2 your next turn, then when you attack, if you attack 3 the previous turn, then you'll have at least 4 stock. So you can play 3 of these rather. Use the combo, get an extra 1, and then put all of them, just switch them all. Obviously, that doesn't happen as much, but it would be ideal. Now, the reason I'm running 3 of these and 2 of these are because of the grade 3 abilities, which I'll go over now. Now, 3 of the Issei targets, which is the Issei Kai, and then 2 of the Hyuga targets with the Hyuga Kai. Now what these things do is, with the Hyuga Kai does is she's a clock kick. So on the turn she's played, you can discard a card, and then if you reverse your opponent, you can put that card into stock, or into clock, sorry. So great card. The only problem is it only works on the turn it's played, which is why I'm only running 2 of them. And then it does the same thing the other one does, where it gives the Issei Kai at plus 1,000 power. So they're a great combo together, but this one, it's really handy to kind of get those pesky cards off the field if you can get that power boost first thing. But once you kind of done the effect, she's not as good as she was on play. Now, the Issei Kai, on the other hand, is really good. When she is played, or during your opponent's turn, before they attack, you can discard a card to stand her and any other card on the field and swap them. And then she gets plus 2,000 power. So this card is awesome because you can either move her in front of something that you need to kill, or that your opponent's expecting to be super weak, so they're just, kind of getting rid of a card in front of it. Or you can just move it into the back row if it's the only grade 3 you have and you want to keep it for next turn for that extra soul. That, and because you're standing 2 cards, there are a lot of cards in other decks that require your cards to be rested to get in power. I know my friend plays a, what is it called? Fate deck. I can't remember I think it's green. I hate that card, but for every tapped character you have, he gets plus 3 or plus 5 power. So it's like when you attack him, he gets boosted, and then on his turn, if all your cards are tapped, he's like extra boosted. So this is good because you can, not only are you standing 2, so that card is losing power. You're also gaining 2,000 power. And then if you have a Hyuga Kai on the field, then she's even stronger because she's getting the plus 1,000 anyway, or 2,000 or whatever, depending on how many cards you have in the field. So all in all, it's pretty much the deck. Really all you're doing is you're just drawing cards, I feel like, in this deck. Keep your hand nice and big. You don't have to clock as much since you're drawing so many, especially at the end. If you played it right, you should have a good number of cards in your hand that you don't have to clock. Also, the power creep it's not as big as a lot of decks, especially some of the newer decks like what's that deck? The Titans deck. That deck is crazy powerful, but so I feel like this deck was a lot better, like a year or 2 ago. But it's fun to play, especially it's kind of like I have this Pacifica deck for Vanguard. All I'm doing is just cycling through cards and putting cards in my hand. It's a lot of fun because I'm doing a lot of stuff with the deck. I'm not just playing cards and then attacking. You're doing this on the field, you're doing that. It's like brainstorming and stuff. You're doing stuff. You're going into your deck, you're going into your waiting room, you're fishing cards out, you're having a lot of fun. So this deck, you can do all that stuff, and it's $10. Anyone can make this deck. Everyone has these cards because there's nothing over double or rare in this deck. It's all rare and under. So no double R's. The climaxes are just regular climaxes. They're not climax rares. The only rares are the Shigekaini and the grade 3s, pretty much. The grade 2s, yeah, the grade 2s are uncommons. Let's see. These are trial deck cards, pretty much. draw that card. Yeah, so they're all commons, uncommons, a few rares. Hence the low cost. So this would be like the budget deck. But there it is. That's my Kantai Collection deck. This will be part of another series of deck profiles I'll be doing for my blog. This will be the first, obviously. I want to kind of, put some more interest into Weib Shwartz, get more people playing it, especially around here and the Midwest, and show people that you can make a fun deck for basically no cost. You don't have to spend $300 or $400 to make this deck, like some of the more powerful decks, and it's still fun to play. You might not win as much, but if the cards come out how they're supposed to, and you've got like the perfect hands, I would say, the perfect draws, then you can do this deck does really well. Gets very powerful, gets good hand advantage, so you keep the pressure going, and hopefully you power through all their climaxes and their damage blocks, and you can just take the win. So thanks for watching, guys.